And the Senate on Tuesday moved to advance the CHIPS Act. The bill is designed to boost U.S. semiconductor production as an antidote to dependence on China. Earlier today, I spoke with former Under Secretary of State Keith Krach to understand more about this and the U.S. role in protecting Taiwan and democracy more broadly. Keith Krach, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Stephanie. I really appreciate it.
The Senate this week passed the CHIPS Act to boost U.S. production of semiconductors. I'd like to first get your impression of the bill. Do you think it has the potential to cut the U.S.'s dependence on China and Taiwan for these chips?
Well, I think this is one of the most important bills that we have because the semiconductor industry is so critical. It's the underlying foundation. It's the most important industry, and I really believe that it does. China is absolutely obsessed. Secretary Xi is absolutely obsessed with the semiconductor business. You know, one of the things that we did 2 years ago when I was Under Secretary of State was onshore TSMC, the most advanced semiconductor manufacturing company in the world. And that ended up to be a $12 billion onshoring. And not only did it bring along their ecosystem, but also it was the catalyst to write the CHIPS Act with Senator Warren and Senator Corn. And without this bill, it will be really tough to bring United States semiconductor manufacturing back to the U.S. because all these other countries subsidize them. So I think this is absolutely critical.
Let's say the CHIPS Act is signed into law and the U.S. increases its semiconductor manufacturing. Do you think the U.S. could lose interest in helping Taiwan protect its national security?
Absolutely not. I think what it will do, Stephanie, is it will strengthen it. I mean, look, Taiwan is a linchpin for democracy. It's a role model for freedom. To General Secretary Xi, Taiwan dispels his myth that the Chinese culture can't live under a democracy, and he wants it destroyed. So anything that we can do to strengthen our relationship with Taiwan is critical.
President Biden said on Wednesday that either he or the military opposes House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's expected visit to Taiwan. That's after China threatened forceful measures against the U.S. if he went. What's your take? Do you think she should go?
Well, absolutely. I think Speaker Pelosi should go. You know, in September 2020, I was the highest ranking State Department official to visit Taiwan in 41 years. I was greeted with 40 fighters and bombers. And the purpose was to show support for Taiwan, as well as strengthen the ties by doing the Economic Prosperity Partnership with Taiwan and also a science and technology agreement, ideally leading up to some type of a formal trade relationship. And, you know, there's nothing more that General Secretary Xi fears than a united United States. So I think this is important. And, you know, one of the things I said when I got sanctioned by the Chinese Communist Party for our national security initiatives was, look, I'm not going to bend a knee to Emperor Xi, and I don't think anybody should.
And why is Taiwan so important to democracy, as you've mentioned?
Well, I think, you know, there's a number of reasons. Number one, from a security standpoint, you know, they are in a strategic location, no question about it. Number two is from a prosperity standpoint. They're the 8th largest economy in Asia. They are also, you know, obviously home to the most important industry in terms of their semiconductor manufacturing capabilities. Plus, they're a good friend, and they are an absolute linchpin that stands for freedom. So, Taiwan's independence is really important.
The U.S. approved another round of military aid for Taiwan last week, over $100 million. In your view, do you think it's enough?
Well, it's hard to say if it's enough. It's probably, you know, it's like anything else. It's probably never enough, but it's very important. And all you have to do is look at Russia and the Ukraine to understand how important that is. And Stephanie, under the Taiwan Relations Act, United States has every right to help Taiwan defend their freedom. So I think this is a critical funding. And, you know, the last thing we want to do is to be caught off guard. One of the things that I'm seeing in corporate America, I'm seeing some of the, probably some of the most prominent board members demanding from their CEOs a China contingency plan because they saw what happened, a number of them with their companies in Russia, and they don't want to be caught off guard again. And by the way, by the time those actions are done, if they're not done now, it's going to be too late.
You've said that the U.S. should recognize Taiwan as an independent nation before Xi Jinping pulls a Putin. Could you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so if you think about it, with Putin's atrocities that he's committing in Ukraine, he's saying that if the United States comes in there and helps him out, he's got his finger on a nuclear weapon, because he, like Xi, rewrote history by saying, hey, it's all, Ukraine's always been part of Russia. It hasn't. Either has Taiwan been part of China. So he's claiming legitimacy. And that's something that by recognizing them for what they are, an independent democratic nation, that takes that legitimacy away from Xi.
Keith Krach, former Under Secretary of State and 2022 Nobel Peace Prize nominee. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Stephanie.